Hello everyone, welcome back to the Nullified Take channel on YouTube, where I'm back to talk about the challenge. We've got the Challenge All-Stars 5 Rivals episode premiere that has just come out this week. And I thought, let's do a little video, let's talk about it. I am, for one, very interested to know how other people are feeling about this season. Are they excited about the rival season? I know that for a very long time, we the fans have said we would love to see a Challenge All-Stars Rivals season return to our screens, and we finally have been able to get the season that everybody has wanted. We've seen the pairs, we've speculated about how these pairs would interact when they meet up for the first time. For some of them, it's been over 12 years. If you think about Frank and Sam, for instance, since they've probably even spoken to each other or played a game together, and we all have sort of speculated who would be the power pairs, the pairs that would do extremely well in this season. Now, if you're one of those fans that did check out my channel when Angel Cake, Reality Realness, and myself did a draft, I did have Adam and Steve as my second pick, and I did have both Turbo and Nany as my first pick for that draft. So I'm feeling very strong after this first episode with two of my pairs in the top four. I think if we had to look at the pairs, who was the pair that outperformed the most? Probably Leroy and Devin at this stage, because all of us were extremely low on that pair when we did do our draft, more so low on Leroy, who has not been doing really well in recent seasons since he has come back from retirement, but it is a good start to the season for him. But overall, great first episode in my opinion. I'm a big fan of the Rivals theme, and I think that once again this season is showing why the Rivals theme is something that we should see back on even, I think, the main show sometime in the future with some of the main cast members as well. I've seen online there's a little bit of people that are upset about the fact that the episode was 40 minutes. For me personally, the actual runtime, I should say, because I'm sure if you watched it on MTV, there would have been some ads in between. For me personally, it works. I like a quicker edit. I like seeing a little bit more of the main storyline playing out rather than seeing a lot of conversations that potentially doesn't actually matter in the bigger scheme of things. But I can also understand why some fans are upset about that, because you could have seen more of the interactions between these different people on the episode. Now, let's talk about the theme Rivals. Rivals for me definitely is a fun theme. If you think about reality TV, a lot of shows out there, they're trying to move away from controversy. They're trying to move away from drama, the backbone of what made competitive reality TV or reality TV just something that was so compelling to watch where you had to watch it. It was always about how far would people go? How low would they stoop? Would they let their morals out of the door if it came down to winning a big bag of money? And having the Rivals theme back this season is going to put that old test, I guess, back out there for people to either succeed at or fail at. And if you're like me and you like seeing people steal money from other people in these game shows, I've got a feeling we're going to see something like that. Towards the end of this episode, they spoke about the fact that, TJ never said that the 300K is going to be divided between the winning pair. So I do think that whoever's going to win this season potentially will have to make the decision on if they'll keep the 300K for themselves or if they will split it with their partner. And I will say this, I'm personally hoping that whoever wins this season and whoever gets the best time in the finals does end up taking the bag. Does that make me a bad person? Maybe so. But that is what I love about reality TV. I love the fact that everybody should be out there to get the bag of money for themselves and their family. These people are not their family. If you look at some of these people that are playing this game together, there's no love lost between these pairs. So why should you go to the end and share the money? But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people in the comment section that will let me know that I am being too brutal when it comes to it, and that we should all love and care for each other and split the money if we do get to the end. For me personally, seeing the different rivals coming into the season, probably the rivalry that definitely stood out the most for me, and my eyes are firmly on this rivalry because they were my number one pick for the season, is Turbo and Nany. Now, I do think that Turbo and Nany has it in them to win this season. Like they said in this episode, they've played the game together before. They know how to win dailies, but I am extremely worried about Turbo. The guy is on his own planet. Nany is over emotional, so I can understand why he doesn't want to engage with her and that they're not meeting at the same frequency. And I don't think she's completely in the clear either for betraying Turbo, but it could also be that cultural difference where maybe Turbo comes from a background where your word is your bond, or if you've worked together, you'll never backstab each other. Nany's played the game a lot more than him. She understands that, one season you could be friends with someone, you could be allies with that person, and next season it may not suit your game. I actually understand where Nany's coming from, but they're not meeting each other in the middle, and communication, I think, in these pairs are going to be extremely important. So the people that can find a way to communicate with each other, and that can put all of this rivalry BS to the backside, I think those are the people that are going to be successful in the end. And I am worried for Turbo and Nany, and if they're able to do that this season. But if they can do it, I still feel very confident about having them as my number one pick. The other pair here that is very interesting to me is seeing Frank and Sam come back to play this game. Frank has got a reputation, like we see here in the episode where they show some of the previous seasons, and Frank is someone that can win the season if it was a solo season. I think he's competitive. I think he's got all the right makings for a champion, but Sam definitely, and you see Frank struggling with this. Sam's not at his level. So can Frank drag Sam once again to the end of a season and potentially win with Sam? I think it's going to be a bridge too far. Sam doesn't look like they've done any kind of workouts or physical routines for many, many years now. And obviously we know endurance is going to be a big thing. Gassing out on this very first daily when it wasn't, well, again, armchair critic here sitting on the couch, but didn't look that physical. It didn't look that physical to transfer mud from one place to the other, and to balance that table with the balls on it. They should have done a lot better, and I take my hat off for Frank. He clearly was frustrated throughout this episode, but somehow he didn't lose his shit in this episode. I do think, though, that it's going to be hard as the season continues on for Frank to keep that competitive nature in. And the reason that I understand this a little bit is because I am an extremely competitive person. When I do Spartan races, when I go out there and compete and do physical exercises, I don't want to be tied to anyone. I don't even like training in the gym with anybody else, just in case they don't keep up with my pace. If I was to go and train with someone in the gym, they need to be doing more than me. They have to be able to lift heavier, go faster, go harder. I don't want to be dragged down. And if you're that kind of personality and you're that kind of competitive person, I do think that at some stage, even though Frank is trying to be this new person, that is going to come out to play in this season. If we're looking at the other pairs here, I do think, I really don't care for Nicole, but she's probably going to cheat on her girlfriend again with Melissa this season, which is going to be dramatic. No one should be dating Nicole at this stage. Like, if you're someone that is dating Nicole, knowing her history of cheating on her partners, or what are you doing? Like, you're setting yourself up for heartbreak at this stage. Just stay away from the girl. I will never understand why people would make that decision to go and date her, to be honest. I think Devin and Leroy will do well together because they seem to be able to put things to the side. Dario and Ashley, that's an interesting pairing. It looks like they could even still have a hookup coming up. I don't know if she's with someone or not, but Ashley is talking about him just being as good looking as he was since she last saw him. Dario clearly still thinks she's attractive, so there could be some tension there, and they could definitely hook up, which I don't think will be a good thing for them if they broke up before. It probably won't work out this time either. I'm not in the habit of, if you do a breakup, going back to the same person. I think that's a mistake. Let's think about the other pairs here. Ashley and Anissa. Ashley didn't look oppressed. Can't say much to that. I think Ashley's going to get dragged down with Anissa this season. All the best to Anissa. I saw pictures online of her being really fit and in shape, and she's getting the work done in the off season. Well done. You got to do that stuff, but I don't think that work was done prior to this season, and maybe that would be because of the season that she just thought, finally, oh wow, if I actually want to win one of these things, I got to get in shape for the challenge, because it's a physical competition. It's not just about social dynamics. And like Ashley said, if you're friends with everybody, you're probably not really, I can't remember the saying, but it's like, if you're friends with everybody, or if you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. There's something down that lines. I kind of agree with Ashley $1 Million Mitchell on that one. And then obviously Steve and Adam, they seem to still have a lot of tension there. Adam seems to be absolutely oblivious and has certain traits that, I don't want to call him a narcissist, but it kind of feels like he's a little bit of a narcissist. Like, Steve owes him this much about taking the star from him. From memory, like, Adam wasn't really that much of a friend to Steve that season either. So I just don't get that. Like, I think he's a bit full of himself. Way more a fan of Steve in this scenario. And I do hope Steve gets to the end and steals the money from Adam. That would be brilliant in my mind. Who else is there that came back? Yeah, I don't really think there was any other pairs for me that stood out worthy enough to talk about in this update. But I enjoyed the first episode of this. As we close off this video, let's react to a couple of the fan comments out there. I'm going to bring up a new section here with some fan comments on X, and let's react to it, and if I've got any thoughts, I might say a couple of things on it. Alright, so let's react to a couple of the fan reactions on X. So, Michael here says, this season definitely deserved the 90-minute time slot compared to the main show. MTV could definitely shelve one episode of ridiculousness of it if they really wanted to. The Challenge All-Stars 5. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay, like I said earlier, with the 40-minute episodes instead of the 90-minute episodes, or, I watched it 40 minutes without ads. It's probably 60 minutes in total for those that watched it with ads. For me personally, I just feel like the All-Star seasons, the edit is a little bit more concise. It's easier to follow. You understand who's in trouble, who's potentially going home. Like, this first episode heavily, I think, pointed towards Janae and Beth not lasting very long, and I just think Janae's most likely going to quit because she doesn't want to do the season with Beth, and I don't even blame her. Like, I mean, would you really call Janae a quitter if she stepped out of this season? Because Beth went after her on a personal level. This wasn't about game, and for me personally, Janae is set up to fail this season with Beth. Beth's not going to be able to keep up with these young guns to get to the end of this season and win it. She wasn't even in her prime a real competitor. So for me personally, I'm okay with the 40-minute episodes. I don't have a problem with it. Alright, so this next comment here says, and it's from Alan, I love Frank attempting to be this new kind of patient and a supporting partner. All while, every time you see his face and eyes, in particular, you can see the essays of frustration that he's writing in his head. And if you look at this picture, it tells 1,000 stories within it. Just look at that. He is giving Sam the death stare behind his back. And this is what I was talking about. I don't think Frank is going to be able to keep it in. He might be more mature. He might be trying to do the right thing and not go after Sam very hard. But for me personally, Frank is a competitor. Sam's not going to keep up. And this thing is going to blow up at some stage. I do feel sorry for Frank. Alright, let's read this next comment here by Dwayne Paul saying, it's the way Beth thinks one conversation with Janae about her cheating on her husband fixed all of the issues between them. I have to laugh. It just shows you how unaware Beth is. And I think it was Shane who said, this has been Beth's problem all along. She's never grown. She's never learned and matured from that. And she thinks with one conversation, we're now all good. We're communicating well. We're going to have a great season. I'm calling it right here. Janae is quitting out of the season. She's probably not even going to put in all of her effort if she does end up going into an elimination, but I would not be surprised to see them be out in the first instance here and to go home. There was a lot of focus from the edit on that pairing specifically, and if I was Janae, I probably, this is the level of beef that goes beyond the game. I don't think I would want to work with Beth for the season as well. Black Ted Mosby says, fun fact, Leroy is the only person to play in all installments of Rivals. That's crazy. So he's got all of the experience, having had all of these rival pairs in his time playing the show. So by that count alone, you should have Leroy as the most experienced Rivals competitor of all times, and it's a great first start for them, getting second place, I think, in this first episode. So watch out for Leroy and Devin. That could be a very good thing for them. Maybe that is finally going to be his season to win. And then we've got a comment here from Real Babashi saying, not like $1 million. Exactly. Don't you ever cast Millionaire Mitchell with a non-champion again. Ashley, we spoke about it. She was done hard by the production team coming into the season, but maybe this is her way to get back into production's good books. They're like, you've got to play ball and we'll bring you back for future seasons. A lot of the times for the challenge, it's not about winning the season that you're on. It's about getting that call back. And Ashley's trying to work her way back into production's good books. So this could be the season for her to do that. All right, we've got middle name Dwayne here saying, all right, let's tune into the challenge Davon. The challenge All Stars 5. Davon had an interesting edit in the first episode, actually. I found it really funny when she said that I am now, fully Christian, or I'm all about my faith, and I'm not going to be swearing and cussing and doing all these things. I was kind of worried for a split second that maybe that would mean it's not going to be as entertaining to watch Davon this season. But then when she heard that she was with Shane, immediately we saw the flashbacks. We saw her talk about she needs all of the help she can get to stay calm and stay within her lane this season. I think she is going to be casting gold. I'm gutted that Angel Cake took her from me in the draft, because I think there's going to be plenty of confessionals, and the narrative is definitely going to be told by Davon, because she's so good at confessionals. John here says, Turbo while Nany was crying. Okay, girl, bye. Turbo didn't want to have anything to do with it. Like, it was one of the most awkward situations. And Nany's like, we need to sort this now. We need to talk about it. We need to get on the same page. We've got a daily challenge coming up the next day. And Turbo's like, you betrayed me. There's nothing to talk about here. Okay, so last one here. Nicole says, Fessy so pressed that Amber is a champ and he can't relate. Fessy, it must kill him inside to know he thinks he is God's gift to the challenge, and he still hasn't won a season. But Amber, the person he thought wasn't worthy to be his partner, ended up going down and winning the season, becoming a challenge champ before he could. So that must still sting up until today. I do think they could be a threat this season, though, if they can work past their differences. And this is a more mature Fessy that is coming into this season, but definitely still a little bit of shade thrown there. He did at least acknowledge that Amber did get the last laugh, and I'm interested to see how this season's going to turn out. Anyways, if you do want your comments to be read by me on this show for the next time we do one of these short videos, make sure that you at me on Twitter or X. If you're on X, go and follow us on X as well. It would be great. It's at TNT_take for the Nullified Take channel. I'll show you the Twitter here. I will make sure, if you do at me, that I do read the comments in the next one. We're definitely going to finish these videos with a comment section each week. But for now, I hope you did enjoy my coverage of the first episode of the Challenge All Stars 5. Let me know what was your favorite moment, and anything that you think I should have spoken about but I didn't cover on here. I do read the comment section, so I will try and reply to as many of the comments as I can. But for now, I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.